All right, so this is lower body for the month of August, day 2, so it'll be Wednesday and Thursday. So we start every lower body with some sort of activation series with a mini band or an ankle strap. So this guy is the foot strap. This white part goes in the back. It takes a long time for the clients to kind of get situated with this. I tell them if they can do it in less than 20 seconds, they can use it. If they get too frustrated and you need to walk around and help every single person with it, just have them use the ankle strap. They just obviously need to make sure that the Velcro is secured very tightly. So we are going to wrap it around one leg through the black loop and make sure that the hook and loop on the Velcro is secured all the way around and it should stay. Then they just hook it to the black D-ring. All right, so we have 4 moves. We're going to do all 4 moves on one leg for 30 seconds each, and then we're going to switch legs and do the same move on the other leg, and it's just going to be one time each leg. So number 1 is a straight leg kickback. So just keep your knees soft, toe point into the ground, hips square, squeeze your glute, engage your core, and we don't want them kicking super far back, so it's our back arches. Number 2 is going to be abduction. So they are going to have the strapped up ankle facing closest to the turf. They're going to open and close. With control, I always tell them hold on to the bar so you can stand up nice and tall and really focus on that working leg. They're going to face the other direction and they're going to kick towards the turf with the inside of their foot hitting that adductor. And then the last one is some hip flexion, a little bit of quad work. Lean into the opposite side. The cable is behind them. And they are just driving their knee, control back, exhale, drive, and control back. So those 4 moves, your straight leg kickback, your abduction, your adduction, and then your hip flexion knee drive. After those, they will switch the ankle strap to the other leg and do those same 4 moves on the other leg, and then you're done. So, for the first big circuit, we need a black handle on each side, all the way at the bottom. And we also need the hip belt strung across L2 and R2. All right, so that's going to get us set up for this whole circuit. We have 4 moves. Each move is 30 seconds, and we're going to run through this as a circuit, 1, 2, 3, 4, 3 times through. The other thing we need is a resistance band, which they should go ahead and be set up for you guys on the lower loop of the S drive. So, move number 1, your feet are in line with the red levers. Your feet are hip width apart, rack. It's a 3-1 tempo, normal squat. Down for 3, powerful stand for 1. Engage your core, keep your chest up. Exhale as you stand. Make sure they're really following that 3-1 tempo. It's not a stagger squat where they pause 3 times. It's a smooth 3 seconds down, 1 second up. Move number 2. They're going to step inside the band, put it around their hip bones, low hip, get onto their knees, hinge, push their butt back, snap and squeeze their glutes. All right? What they're not doing, you can't really see, is they're not putting their butt back to their heels. So try and keep your hips over your knees, squeeze your butt, and snap your glutes at the top of the rep. Number 3 is a hip belt with a slider reverse lunge. So they're going to pull the hip belt back, put it around the middle of their calf. Hold on. I don't know what's going on with my view here. Guess I'll move it back. So one slider's on the turf. They're going to grab the hip belt, put it around the middle part of your calf. Just make sure it's not behind the back of their knee. They're gonna stand, and then the working leg, actually they're both gonna be working here. Reverse lunge and stand. If they don't love the slider, they can get rid of it. Step back, drive through the front heel as you stand. 30 seconds one leg, and then they'll put the hip belt around the other leg, and the other leg will use the slider. And the last one is leg curls. So they are putting their feet on the sliders, holding the glute bridge out and in. The alternative that we give to them is both out and pull one in at a time. So you have your 2 cable rack, 3-1 tempo squat. You have your toe kneeling banded hip thrust. You have your hip belt plus your slider reverse lunge, and then you have your hamstring slider leg curls. 3 rounds as a circuit, 1, 2, 3, 4, for 30 seconds each. Then we have our upper body. So we need both flat handles all the way at the top. And we are doing each of these moves 2 times before moving on to the next. So there's 5 moves, or 4 moves, I'm sorry. Move number 1, you're gonna do twice, 30 on, 15 off. Move to 2, same thing, 3, and then end with exercise 4. So number 1 is a tri-placement push-up. So they're gonna start with narrow hands, step both out a little bit, and then the third placement is wide, and then work their way back in. They can drop to their knees if they need to, if they should. Tell them to drop to their knees if you see hips sagging. And make sure, one of the things I'm working on is to make sure that my clients' elbows go a little bit back and not out in a T position. So coach them through that as well. 2 times, 30 on, 15 off. Then we're doing a cable iron cross. So you can stand. You are lining your shoulders up with the handles. We don't want you to come to the front, and too far back is going to be really uncomfortable and maybe a little bit dangerous. So line your shoulders up with the handles and then put your hands in. If you have a taller client, they definitely can kneel, and it's going to be the same movement, but just start here, exhale, pull straight down to the side of your hip, shoulders down and back. Make sure that they're not pulling to the front like a little bit of a fly. 2 times, 30 on, 15 off. Number 3 is a TRX curl to press. So lean back, 1 palm faces you, 1 palm faces away. 1 arm curls as the other arm presses. Switch, rotate, curling arm, that elbow stays high in line with your shoulder or slightly higher, and you're alternating each rep. The further your feet are in, the harder it is. Walk back to make it a little bit easier. That one is 2 times, 30 on, 15 off. And then your last one is with the rope at the top. They are slightly hinged, straight arm, pulling down to their quads and pulling that rope apart. Engage your core and hold a nice flat back. So you have your tri-placement push-up twice in a row, your cable iron cross twice in a row, followed by your TRX curl to press twice, and then that hinged straight arm pull down. And then you are back to your lower body circuit. So this whole entire workout is a little bit long. So this is the circuit that you might only do twice in the beginning and work your way up to 3 times, or repeat it twice and then pick 1 or 2 exercises to do a 3rd time. Exercise number 1, you have 4 exercises as a circuit, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and like I said, 2 or 3 times through. It is a slider, 1 leg squat. So the slider is going on the moving leg, squat on 1 leg, and pull back in. 30 seconds, and then they'll switch. If needed, they obviously can grab the TRX strap and use that for assistance. Just make sure that they're still really using their lower body and not relying too much on the strap. 30 seconds each leg. Then we have a low rope, straight leg deadlift. So the rope is low, your feet are pretty narrow, shoulders back, hinge, snap and squeeze. Hinge, thrust your hips forward and squeeze your butt. Number 3 is a quadruped banded knee extension. So they're going to step into the band, get into quadruped position. The further they choke up on the rope closer, or the band closer to their knees, the harder, more resistance they're going to have. Starting in a good bear stance with your knees under your hips, your hands under your shoulders, deep through your toes. Exhale as you press your hips to the ceiling. Once you're up, don't drop your knees back down. Okay? And exercise number 4 is a split stance rope pull through. So they're familiar with this one. New client, they struggle with it, but there's just a lot of coaching and you really gotta get the feeling. So you are in split stance, wider than your hips. Back foot is up on your toe so that your hinge is a little bit easier. I say tuck your elbows into your rib cage and never let them move. Your arms always stay straight. Hinge under your body, snap and squeeze. Hinge, snap and squeeze. They're gonna feel a lot of work in that back glute. The other thing you need to look out for is that they're not pulling the rope, okay? So the rope stops where you stand and you don't pull. So that's 30 seconds each leg. So you have your slider open leg squat, your low rope straight leg deadlift, your quadruped banded knee extension, and then that split stance rope pull through. 30 seconds each, 2 rounds or 3 rounds. Then you have your AMRAP. So this is a coaching AMRAP. You can go 2 minutes, 2:30, 3 minutes, whatever you would like. Both handles are all the way forward on the S-drive, so all the way towards the wall. For this sled push, they're climbing underneath the strap, pressing into one of the bars that they're comfortable with and driving on their toes. Sled. You are going to say switch, at which point in time they quickly, shoulder blades up against the strap, hands in the strap, hold a low squat, and walk the bell away. So you are telling them to switch for that entire time on your call, however long you would like them to be in each position. And that's the AMRAP, just those 2. And core, 30 seconds each move as a circuit, 1, 2, and 3, 2 times throw. So number 1 is a palm X plank, wrists under shoulders, feet wide. Take your hips to the ceiling, return to a high plank as you reach for the outside of your opposite ankle, knee, shin, whatever it may be. Number 2 is a hollow hold flutter. So get into your hollow hold position and flutter your legs. They can do whatever they want with their hands. If they need, drop to their elbows and flutter here. But really challenge them to flutter as long as they can in that hollow hold position. If they're not ready to flutter, then just have them practice their hollow hold. That's totally fine. Straight, flat back, belly button to core, or belly button to spine. And then your last one is your elbow plank. Again, same as last video, really watch that their elbows are under their shoulders. We have a lot of this. Pull their body forward, squeeze your glutes, belly button to spine. The last 10 seconds or so, I remind them to pull their elbows, squeeze the floor in between their elbows and toes. And they're all like, oh yeah. So, palm X plank, hollow hold flutter, and elbow plank, 30 seconds each as a circuit, 2